My name is Sara Fink, and I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams, and before that, and along with that, I'm an interior designer as well, and grew up in a family of construction. Radon was not something we had ever came across before or I'd ever heard of. I have a degree from Missouri State in housing, and we really didn't discuss radon poisoning either. My best friend, Angela Cole, well, Angela Hay now, she's married, but we've known each other since 6th grade, and her parents decided to follow her to Kansas City, and they were assigned to a church parsonage with her father being a Methodist minister, and we had no idea what would happen to them living there, but 5 years later, after living in the house, her father was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, lung cancer. She's going to tell you guys more about the details, but just as a heads up, she is a pharmacist, and so she's coming across very much with her doctor lingo, and she wants people to realize it's true facts. It's just not something she's talking about just out of emotion, and plus she pretty much has turned her emotion off in the video to keep from getting upset, but she really wants people to realize that radon poisoning is out there and it's a thing, and that it's something that could totally be prevented. If they would have known anything about this, her dad could still be alive today, but most people, like I said myself, do not even know that it's something that happens to homes, and it's not something that's required in an inspection for a closing transaction to occur either. So her and I really just are mainly doing this to get the word out there so more families will protect themselves.
So from what I understand, your mom and dad were both healthy and had no major health issues prior to all this.
Yeah, that's true. Neither of them was on any medications or had any health conditions. My dad always ate really healthfully and lived a healthy lifestyle.
Had your dad ever been a smoker?
No, he never smoked a cigarette once, and he even was pretty well disgusted by anyone who smoked around him.
How long did your dad live in the house before he started having any symptoms?
He lived in the house about 5 years before any symptoms started showing up.
What kind of symptoms did he have?
Honestly, the only thing that he had was a cough, and it just started and it didn't go away. It was just a persistent dry cough, but nothing else felt wrong.
What made him decide to go to a doctor to get checked out?
Basically just that, it started out as a cough, and we thought it was probably bronchitis because it was around that season, but it just didn't go away. So then eventually they decided to do a chest x-ray.
What exactly was he diagnosed with?
He was diagnosed with lung cancer, and at that point it was already stage 4.
What made anyone suspect it might be due to radon exposure?
So when the pulmonary oncologist came in the room and gave him his diagnosis, he did ask my dad if he was a smoker, and he said no. And then the pulmonary oncologist right then said, "You need to go have your house tested for radon," which we didn't really know what that meant, but we got some more information, and that's when we had our house tested.
When the house was tested for radon, do you remember what the levels were?
Yeah, so we did some reading, and at that time, from what we found out, the average radon levels inside are about 1.3, and if it's over 4, it's definitely something that needs to be mitigated or fixed. And their test showed that theirs was over 14, and it was still climbing, but we at that point shut down the test and had the house fixed.
Did they have the house mitigated of the radon, or did your parents move?
Both. So we moved them out instantly after this happened, and we also made sure it was mitigated before anyone else lived there.
How long did your dad live after being diagnosed?
He lived 8 months.
If you could only get one message out to others about the dangers of radon, what would that message be?
I would tell other people that, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer behind smoking. It's not that it might cause cancer or we think it causes cancer. It definitely does cause lung cancer if in a certain level. No one had told me about radon. I just wish it was something we would have known about, because having a loved one who died from something that could have been prevented is really hard. So basically, we just want to get the word out so that other people don't have to go through that.